Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic/Non-Classic. This is episode number 594 and Doubleshot number 498. Two DC trades. First, and they're both trades I physically own because I purchase these things. This one I purchased on Amazon. This is Deathstroke the Terminator, Volume 1, Assassins. This contains the first 9 issues of the 60-issue ongoing series, along with New Titans number 70. Now, something like, okay, the Deathstroke issues make sense because it's the title of the trade. But why is New Titans here? Simply put, the issue is just a backdoor pilot to this ongoing series. Every single issue here, including the New Titans issue, is done by Mark Wolfman. Even the artist is the same person. Well, a couple artists in here. You have Steve Irwin and Will Blyberg. Yep. And in case you're wondering, for this ongoing series, how long does he wear this particular outfit? For most of the series, except for the last year of the comic, where from the last year of the comic up until the Devin Grace and Titans run, he abandons this costume, wears a piece of a crap black and blue costume with garbage lids on it, which was so awful. Yeah, if I ever get a chance to get the trades get to that particular point, I will talk about that. Especially, I am still planning on doing a retrospective on this particular series because it's really good. Now, with this particular, what happens in these issues? Well, for one thing, Deathstroke is basically hunting people from his past. There's a character called the Ravager in here who is not, by the way, is not Grant Wilson and it's not Rose. It is somebody he met in boot camp. Yep, it is somebody he was the sparring partner, and he was the Ravager. Despite they claiming Grant Wilson really wasn't. One thing I also thought was really cool about this thing, heck, Batman shows up in here as well, is that some of the covers were really damn good. I love the covers for this series because here's an example of, let's see. I don't think it's the first arc. I think it's the second arc of the series. Yeah, I think it's the second arc of the series where they actually do something quite unique with the series, and they did this for major storylines. Green Arrow was noteworthy for doing this as well, where they had these special banners, borders on the covers. Yes, they did this with the second arc. Now, in case you're wondering, this is not the first time that the issues from this volume has been collected in trade. No, this is the second time. The first time, it only collected just the opening arc, and that was it. Let me look at it because I have Wikipedia up here. Let's see. Okay. Well, that's loading up. I'll show you off the. Here we go. For the City of Assassins thing. Look at this particular. Let's see. Here we go. Here's the cover for. This is issue 6. I love this banner style. They did this for Green Arrow. If you read the Green Arrow Mike Rowe run, it had this style of a border on with a picture like this. This is a gorgeous looking thing. It's kind of like you do for a special book, an actual novel. They do stuff like this as well, where it looks like a special format. They did this for this series. I think they did. No, they didn't do this for Teen Titans. They did this for, on the top of my head, just this series, Green Arrow, and Legends Dark Knight did the same thing as well. Yeah, here we go. It's called Full Cycle. It collects pretty much the same issues as this one, except it only collects the first 5 issues of the series and New Titans 70. Yep. Now, one thing I do agree with Cam. He's Dr. Lemon. He's also known as Dr. Lemonade. He basically did a review of the original trade for this. Heck, he did one for the one for Suicide Squad as well, where after the first volume they stopped publishing it, and then because of his popularity on the Arrow TV show, we got his ongoing series returned, and this basically got published, and the same thing with Green Arrow as well. Thanks to, but yeah, you gotta think Arrow. The Arrow TV show basically gave Deathstroke a chance to have an ongoing series again, started in 2013, and getting his original volume in trade. And so far, there's only been about 3 volumes released. The 4th volume is supposed to come out this month. I think it's supposed to be next week. I think it is. Yeah. Also, his ex-wife, Adeline Kane, shows up in this series. Yeah, that's one thing quite unique about Deathstroke comic book, is that his ex-wife shows up in the 1st volume, the 2nd volume, and the current volume of the series. She loves showing up. Now, those of you wondering, is she in volume? Curious, is she in volume 3? Nope. But Rose is. She's in all 4 volumes, along with Deathstroke himself. Yeah. And some of the stuff that happened during this particular era, this would give Chris Priest inspiration to sort of integrate some ideas to do remake of this particular series for the current run, which is really good. And I actually got the most recent trade that came out for the collect issues from this current volume, which is ending really soon. And I think there's about 2 more volumes that come out for that one. This one, because, well, the 4th volume, I think, is going to go to issue 25. That's still got a little while to go before they finish collecting issues this volume. Now, there is some, let's say, follow-up with what happened during the events of Titan's Hunt. Yeah, there has been about a couple different storylines, at least 3 different storylines called Titan's Hunt. The original one was a 12-issue story that happened in the pages of New Titans, which had an interesting start. I personally didn't have a problem with the story. It's just that, well, too many revelations. The story dragged on for longer than it should have. The second one wasn't actually New Teen Titans Volume 2. The third one was actually very recently, as about 3 years ago. They did this with the Titans Hunt miniseries done by Dan Abnett, which originally was supposed to solicit for, it was 8 issues, originally solicited for 12, and then for some reason was cut down to 8 for some stupid reason. Yeah, it was one of several series DC did for that particular reason. I have no idea why. Also, I don't know if anybody's ever noticed this. Recently, whenever Deathstroke appears outside of his own title, he wears this costume. Yep, the George Perez design costume. And I got to admit, the 90s was a great time for him and have an ongoing series. Though the only theory I have, the reason why they gave him at that particular point in time, was because Marvel was putting out The Punisher. Yeah, though unlike The Punisher, where his long ongoing series lasted for, well, the one from 1988 to about, I think it was like 1985, that lasted for 104 issues. This lasted for 60 issues. Yeah, it didn't last as long as Punisher. Punisher lasted for almost 10 years. Well, this lasted, I think it was like 60 issues, I think it was. Let's see. Yeah, 60 issues and 4 annuals over the course of almost 5 years. Yeah, you gotta at least praise the fact that the series did last this long. And Wolfman did all 60 issues, I think except for like 2 or 3, but he did a good chunk of this. What rating do I give this particular volume? I give this a 9.5 out of 10. It's a really good volume. If you're a fan of the character of Deathstroke, I highly recommend it. Even if you're a fan of Marv Wolfman, I do recommend this as well because it's just really damn good. And it's a thick book. Take a look how thick this thing is. It's really thick. I actually got this for about like $12 on Amazon. Now this one, I actually got this when I was in Virginia. This is Justice League of America, Volume 3, Panic in the Microverse. Written by Steve Orlando, artwork by Ivan Reyes, the guy who frequently collaborated with Jeff Johns. Him and Ethan Van Sciver, yeah, these two frequently collaborated with Jeff Johns and like Green Lantern stuff. The other artist on here is Felipe Watanabe. Yep. And here's kind of the thing about this particular storyline. This was something that was hinted at back in Justice League America Rebirth #1. Yep. This was a storyline that Steve Orlando teased early on, and he finally built up on it. Oh, and also, those of you curious about Lobo, why he's on the team, yeah, that's actually followed upon in the annual for this particular series. Now, this particular series as of right now, because it just ended, yeah, believe it or not, it just ended just recently. Yep. They actually ended the book after only 29 issues. Yes, I have no idea why in the world that they thought this was a good idea, but they did. Yeah. Oh, there was one rumor going around that was going to go in hiatus, but nope, it's going to be replaced by Justice League Odyssey. Excuse me. Despite the fact this is a really damn good comic book. Yeah. And this is only the 3rd volume. And I think overall, there's about 2 more volumes left to come out for this particular volume of the series. Yep, there is. Yeah, there's 2 more volumes left to come out, and the only reason I think so because 29 issues. So I think next one probably go from, this is my personal guess, probably from issues 18 to 23 in number 1, and then having like 24 to 29 pretty much take up the final trade, or the probably 12 issues, depends on what they want to do. Yeah, it answers the question basically answered early on. Where's Ray Palmer? He's in the Microverse. Yep, that's exactly where he is. And they find him, and he's with a princess. It's a really cool adventure. Batman, despite the fact being here, he is not a big player. Yeah, Steve Orlando does not have him as a big player in this particular series. Yeah, that's one thing you gotta praise Steve Orlando for basically having him in this series. He's not the leader of the team. The leader of the team is Vixen. Yeah, Vixen. It's kind of like, okay, let's just throw... Yeah, I think a lot of people basically do like the idea of this. I love the lineup, and the lineup pretty much doesn't change. I mean, the only person joining this team after the team initially forms is Aztec. Yeah, she's the only one who does. Aztec is a woman in this continuity. Though in pre-Flashpoint, it was a guy, and he was created by Grant Morrison. Yep. Now, they go to the Microverse, they find him, and of course, Roy Cheadle stops wearing the Arrowverse Adam costume. He starts wearing the actual Adam costume. He starts wearing this costume. So you can kind of say that this storyline is a good character piece for Roy Cheadle. And it's a good one too. Plus, he gets to make out with Killer Frost. One of 2 times in the series he gets to make out with Killer Frost, and she doesn't kill him. Yep. Yeah, this overall is one fantastic series. I should point out, though, despite Black Canary being in the title, this arc, she does absolutely nothing. Yes, and this is called out upon in the annual. Yeah, because she does not go with Ray Palmer to Microverse. Yeah, who you see in the cover? Yeah, that's who goes with him. It's Killer Frost, Lobo, Batman, and I think that's it. Yeah, I think these are the ones who actually go with him to the Microverse. I mean, Batman makes sense because, well, he's DC's biggest cash cow, so having him come along be no problem. Lobo, why not? Because, well, Steve Orlando's the writer, like, hey, I'm sure that probably DC editorial is probably telling Steve Orlando, hey, make sure Batman is there for every single issue and have him involved somewhat. Yeah. But he overall doesn't do a great, doesn't play a big part in it. I want to show off some artwork here. This is fantastic artwork. And I believe these are Ivan Reyes issues. Yeah. This is fantastic. That's one thing I gotta praise for Ivan Reyes. The guy is fantastic when it comes to doing artwork, especially for cosmic stuff. Microverse is definitely something that's a cosmic style event. I mean, the way this arc plays out, it plays out like an actual event. That's one thing you gotta say that's good about this particular book. And for a lot of people, and people who agree with me, this is better than Brian Hitch's Justice League, because Brian Hitch's Justice League was bland. This was better. Because here's the thing that Justice League America actually did during their actual run. You actually have time in their headquarters. You have to fight actual villains for more than 2 issues of the entire run. You actually have them interact with people, not fighting random monsters every single issue, which, yeah, that was basically the whole thing with Brian Hitch's run. Hopefully Steve Orlando fixes that when he takes over the book. Not Steve Orlando, Scott Snyder. Though, I think, no, Orlando's not doing any of the books. I don't know what book he's doing currently once this book wraps up. I know he's going to be one of the writers, I think, for No Surrender. But as far as I can tell, I don't think he's doing any book for DC. Off the top of my head, he's not listed new books I can think of. No, because Justice League is taken with Scott Snyder. Justice League Dark is James Tynion, and Justice League Odyssey is Josh Williamson. Adam Glass is taking over Teen Titans. Dan Evans taking on Titans, and Robert Venditti is doing Hawkman. But as for Steve Orlando, with Supergirl just ended and this series just ended, I have no idea what he's doing next. The guy is a great writer. My first introduction to him was the series Midnighter. Yep, the Midnighter series, one lasted 12 issues. Excuse me. Now, this is something people can't agree with me on. Midnighter was one of the better DCU titles, the ones that were launched the initially launched from 2015, 2016. Yeah, the initiative that failed, and that was one of the best titles they put out, and I can see why DC put him on this particular book, and of course Supergirl. What rating I get this book? 9.5 out of 10. It's amazing. Yep. Alright, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is the first time in probably a little while. I'm going to go over some Deadpool trades. Yep. And it's a good thing, too, because Deadpool 2 is coming out really soon. So, until we see the next video, bye.